So Joan, in case people don't know, you're a full-time basket maker and basketry teacher. You live on Salt Spring and you've lived there for 25 years, which I was amazed to read. You studied fine art and art history at the University of Guelph and attended your first basketry conference in Toronto in 1991. Since then, your passion for this ancient art form has led you to study, travel, and explore many different techniques and materials. Your research into traditional skills inspires your use of plant materials, which you respectfully harvest from nature, while your background in fine art fuels your enthusiasm for the sculptural and creative potential that the medium offers. Joan exhibits nationally and internationally, and you've received 2 project grants from the Canada Council of the Arts, and you're recipient of 2 Handweaver Guild of America awards. Wow. You teach extensively and find it a very rewarding aspect of your career. And I know that you're going to be offering workshops on Salt Spring in a limited way, and people can check your website for updates during COVID.
That's right.
Yeah. Can I just jump in and ask you, what was it that first drew you to basketry and to attend that first conference?
Yes. That was back, during 1990, I guess. I was traveling around the South Pacific for a year. I had one of those Circle Pacific tickets, backpacking, and everywhere I went, I stopped in Tahiti, Fiji, New Zealand, Australia. I kept seeing basketry of the different cultures and the use of the local plant material.
Right.
And then I saw a contemporary basket exhibition in Melbourne, Australia.
Mm-hmm.
So I saw the sculptural possibilities of this traditional hand technique. So I just put it on my to-do list. Oh, when I get back home, check out basket making.
Right.
So I literally did. I was living in Toronto, and I went to the Crafts Council and saw just to see if anybody taught. And there happened to be this international conference happening. The timing was incredible.
Oh, wow. Synchronistic.
Yeah.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah. So sort of my first introduction of the making was this full, rich weekend of workshops, lectures, exhibitions. So I got hooked right away.
Wow. So do you, by any chance, have the first basket you ever made, or the first?
I do.
Do you have it there, or?
I would need a ladder to get it, but I will show you.
Okay.
I will show you.
Okay.
Here it is. Getting it. I'm so glad I kept this in the end, because I almost ditched it a few times. I show this to students so that they feel really good about their first basket.
Okay.
It's a wicker basket.
Oh, wow. Okay.
Okay.
So that's your basic beginner basket making material, right?
Yeah, it's the quintessential basket in my mind. And this workshop was with Flo Hoppy, who is the queen, the master of wicker basketry.
Oh, okay.
So I had a great teacher, and it was focused on the base, like just making bases. But since she knew I had never made a basket, she helped me get started on weaving the side. So I went home doing that, and I was in heaven. I just loved the process. Now the shape is totally wonky.
I love that, though.
But I didn't care at the time either. It's like, I love doing this.
Right.
I love this. And she helped me do the rim the next day.
Right.
So this was a great place to start. Incidentally, the next day was a workshop with Dorothy Gill Barnes, who works with bark, which is my favorite material. And she, became a friend, mentor, over the years after that first experience. So she was very influential as well. So that first exposure was really incredible.
Wow.
And it was thanks to Anchoret Dean in Ontario. She organized that conference.
So to pursue your
And
Oh, go ahead.
I was just going to say that full circle. In May, I was supposed to be back in Ontario teaching a workshop that Anchoret invited me to go teach.
Oh, wow.
So it's kind of a full circle
Wow.
after almost 30 years.
Wow.
But
That's
yeah,
incredible. So
yeah.
to pursue your interest, did you sign up for a lot of different workshops, or did you go to craft school? Like, how did you dive into that?
Yeah, it really had to be
Yeah.
workshops and conferences. And in Ontario at the time, there was a fairly active group. So living in Toronto, I could take different workshops. Then I worked at the art college in the library. So I had access to all the periodicals and what was going on in the world of textiles. Member Fiber Arts magazine and, all of that, So I would research what basket makers I was drawn to, and then I would seek them out and take workshops. So that's how I did it.
You just kind of
and still do.
Okay.
I still take workshops and pursue learning because it's so broad and interesting. It all interests me.
Wow. And so have you narrowed it down to just a few materials that you use essentially? Like I'm not even like, what are some of the materials basket makers can use? I mean, you can use anything.
Yeah, I would say that. Yeah. Absolutely. Anything. And everything is used. That's what's exciting about it. So there's so many different techniques. Certain techniques I kind of narrow or break it down into round material, flat material, soft material.
Okay.
And I teach 4-day workshops that are introductions to those different categories. Within those categories of round, flat, and soft, and that's just a starting point. Within each of those, there's several different techniques and materials, obviously. So, yeah, it's a very rich world to explore.
I was just thinking, like, I've seen the colorful wire inside of a telephone cable. And no, you can make baskets from that. But your work, you seem to, you use a lot of natural fibers rather than found or artificial fibers. And can you talk a little bit about the historical references that influence the baskets you make?
Sure. Well, back to Dorothy Gill Barnes, I would say that her use of bark, the texture, the colors, the possibilities, of bark intrigued me right from the beginning. So if you think about in terms of tradition, the Scandinavian birch bark baskets, of course here in the Pacific Northwest, Western red cedar bark. So I use willow bark quite a bit. And the reason why I use willow bark is because I can grow willow.
Right.
And when you cut it, it grows back. So it's a sustainable source of bark. Because like, for example, cedar bark, I only harvest from a tree that's being cut for another purpose.
Right.
And you can only harvest bark in the spring. So it's limiting that way. So with the willow bark, I can supply, keep myself supplied. And also, because I teach, I need to be able to access enough to supply students with.
Right. So, like, if you go, do you go to like the Museum of Anthropology and look at indigenous baskets and get influenced by those?
Yeah.
Okay. Yeah.
Oh my gosh. Yeah. Yeah. So I love we're so lucky to have that Museum of Anthropology in Vancouver, the museum in Victoria. I just eat it all up. I love it. And I love to travel. So I've been fortunate enough to travel to through being a basket maker, I've been fortunate to travel to Japan, Europe, and I still have the first basket I ever bought was in Australia on that trip. So it's an Aboriginal dilly bag.
Oh, cool.
So yeah, so the history and the whole background interests me, and I am eclectic. in my basket making. Some people will just focus, right, and rightly so, probably, just focus on willow as a material or pine needle coiling, you know, that kind of thing. And I've dabbled in lots, and I also like to, these days, what's happening is I'm starting to explore other medium and try to find ways of combining other materials and techniques with the basketry. So, for example, it's been a long time coming, but I have now a bandsaw. So I love wood and being able to incorporate wood and weaving.
Do you want to show us in your studio your bandsaw and the pieces that you've done with the wood? That would be cool.
Yeah, absolutely. So I'm going to turn the camera forward, and we'll start. Is that right?
Oh, nice.
We'll start out. We'll do the come into the studio thing.
Okay.
Okay. So sliding door. It's a converted garage. Can you see?
Oh yeah, yeah.
That's where I was just sitting at that table.
Oh, okay.
But around here is, well, here's the cordage. I had that piece in the exhibition at Art Craft a couple years ago, hanging in the window.
Yeah, it was beautiful.
Do you remember that? And then here, I wanted to point out for anyone who maybe had wanted to take a workshop, but they aren't being held, I have a fairly detailed video on Vimeo that teaches how to make an open weave garlic basket, which is a great place to start, like my wicker basket where I started. So it's a video that was produced by Jane Stafford Textiles, and she's kindly given me access to it. And I make kits with the material that she sells on her website online. So I'll post more information about that on my Instagram.
Okay, you'll post those links.
Here's the Australia.
Oh, wow.
The Australia dilly bag I bought in Darwin.
So was that like a very expensive item at that time? Because I know you'd pay a fortune.
Yeah. I think I bought it at the right time. I mean, I was poor. I was like, you know.
Yeah.
I was couch surfing and sleeping in my tent. But I bought that basket and I mailed it back home. So I can't remember what it cost, but I treasure it.
Yeah.
And I just brought these out because during this time period, I have been working with the willow. So I mentioned willow bark, but I harvest willow. So here's some of the willow rods. And this is a basket that I took in a workshop last year that I made with Joe Hogan in Ireland.
Oh, wow.
And this is holly wood from holly trees.
So did you collect the material there in Ireland, or did you take your own material?
No, he provided the material.
Right.
Yeah, yeah. And when this winter I had access, a friend cut an arbutus tree and had all these arbutus branches. So I've been using them as a starting point for, instead of holly, using the arbutus. So that's something I've been doing the last couple months. And if anyone's interested in willow, working with willow, I always recommend that tension trays as being a good place to start.
Oh, okay.
And that was actually a course I was supposed to teach in Victoria at the Horticultural Center in May. So hopefully that's something I could do outside and with a small group.
Right.
So then there's sedges, the soft material. The other thing I'm doing these days is it's bark season. It means like the sap is running. So I'm harvesting willow bark. So I cut the willow that's 2 or 3 years old. And this is a peeled rod. And I end up with these bundles of bark. for, you know, and then it's a flat material, so you can use it for weaving. This is also willow bark. This is an example of a willow bark over a bandsaw box. So that's what that baby is about.
Oh, wow. You're obviously
So,
very proud of your bandsaw. So when you're doing a workshop, you have to harvest all the willow yourself for your attendants, or the people, your students.
yeah. And willow, for example, it takes over a week to soak it in the water. So you really have to plan ahead. And let me say that over half my time is spent harvesting and preparing material.
Wow.
Oh, yeah.
Really? And
Yeah.
and then the
Oh,
other
yeah.
half making.
Oh, yeah. The making is like the the end thing.
Wow.
It's a lot involved, and I love it. Like this basket here is made of rushes.
Right.
This basket's made with, that's a New Zealand style basket made with New Zealand flax or phormium. This little basket, that's cedar bark and sedge.
Oh, that's beautiful.
What else?
Joan, do you have like the people that cut down trees? Are you connected with them so that you can get a hold of cedar bark? Like, do you have your inside sources?
I do have some lovely inside sources over the years. Like,
Right.
for example, Michael Nichols, Seven Ravens Farm, who teaches a permaculture course. He has, for years, he would incorporate me into the course, and I would teach harvesting cedar bark while he is part of his sustainable forestry practice, like trying to use all the parts of the tree.
Yeah, that's very cool.
Yeah. And this basket's made of roots. Now, that was a gift from a friend. Those roots are actually from Zambia, but I just wanted to mention roots as being a material.
So you have.
Should we go out to the garden?
Yeah, sure.
Garden?
Yeah, let's go out to the garden and see what you have out there.
Okay. The other thing I wanted to point out is I work outside a lot. So I've got my little setup here with this is cutting at the stage of cutting the bark in a leather tool.
Oh, okay.
Here. So I mean the bark that I harvest has to dry, and then I re-soak it and all of that. But so we're going on a little tour because I've been spending a lot of time in the garden these months.
Yeah.
And this is living willow fence. That's old. That's quite a few years old. But
so
these are projects I never have time to do.
Right.
Each year, I think, oh, I'd love to weave a little wattle fence around this garden bed. Do I normally have time? No. So I have been trying to savor and use the time for creating some of these garden structures. And I do teach something like this plant support. And this is, it's hard to see, but it's a peony support.
Yeah.
And so that's been a real pleasure to be working outside in the garden with the willow that I harvested this winter. I'm just going to turn it around.
Are
there.
you switched over to your data now, or are you still?
No, should I?
Yeah, we're losing you a little bit.
My Wi-Fi. So while I get from A to B.
Yeah, you're frozen now. We can't hear you or see you.
Am I with you?
Now you are. That's better. Yeah, we lost you for a bit.
Yay! Okay, so we're now using data because we're venturing further away from my Wi-Fi.
Right.
Mike, I won't bog you down with my tomato plants and everything. But I have to say, my garden's never looked so good before.
Did you build your
But I feel like I've created a monster now.
Did you build your own supports for your tomatoes?
Yeah. So this one has my sweet peas.
Mm-hmm.
And then here's the pole beans, and I've got bush beans in front.
Mm-hmm.
So I just thought this here, I would incorporate some round hoops, and that would give me a chance to have some wavy lines on my bean support. And then this little wattle fence around this tree. Can you see that?
Yeah.
It's kind of like contrast. So it's a little tricky. So it's been really healing to spend time in the garden. And that's kept me pretty busy, but I'm really full on harvesting bark right now, and that kind of thing.
Are you able to?
How about I show you where I teach?
Okay.
Sorry,
sure.
sorry, Jenny?
Let's see that.
Okay, so
yeah.
normally I teach. Go on. What, Jane?
Go ahead.
Okay.
I was just wondering, were you going to show?
Yeah, go ahead.
We have a delay.
Oh, dear. Okay. Okay. This is where I'm very lucky to be able to teach my workshops. This is my landlord neighbor's building. Mm-hmm. Seeing as this is for workshops on the rock, I thought I would show you where my workshops are held. Mm-hmm. Now, we can work outside, potentially, but also there's this space available.
Wow, beautiful. Is that a round earth structure?
Yes, it is. It is. Yeah. And so here's some of the bark that I've been peeling. Mm. Yeah, so it's kind of strange not to be having those workshops, but I think small groups outside is possible coming up. So keep tuned in.
Are you thinking you might be doing some in July and August there?
Pardon, Jane?
Are you thinking you might do some in July and August?
Yeah, I would like to. I would like to do some like I have to pick and choose what I taught, because to be honest, if it's a little more complex, it's a real hands-on kind of experience. I mean, I might normally need to kind of get in there sometimes, right, and help out as much as I, try not to. It's such a detailed art. So I'd have to pick and choose what I taught, but I think tension trays and the garden supports, like, they're big, and people could observe and then go work on their own. Right. So I hope so.
So you're going to keep posted on your website, and then if people are really interested now, they can follow a video through Jane Stafford and get started.
Yes, that's an excellent place to start. Quite honestly, that open weave garlic basket is such a great beginner basket, and this video is close to an hour long. Like, it's really detailed.
Wow.
People have been able to follow it. They can buy the kit. They have material in the kit to make 3 baskets. Right. So you've got the repetition. Each basket could be different shape, different looking, different color. Mm-hmm. And then that's a great springboard.
Right. So
I'm really happy to be able to offer that option for people to learn online. So the video is free. Mm-hmm. It's freely accessible on my Vimeo. Jane produced it, but gave it to me to share.
Okay.
And
how much is the kit? So if the videos.
the kit is $65, and that's material for 3 baskets.
Oh wow!
So you could even get together with two friends, like 3 people, and split it, and sit a little ways away from each other, watch the video,
Yeah, that's great.
and do it together as a group. The kit also comes with written directions with photos. So that's I've also been in the process of harvesting throughout this whole year. I am starting to record and video my process of how to harvest, prepare. I'll do more instruction that way. So I'm kind of enjoying that as a learning experience, but it's a learning curve.
Oh yeah.
Like,
are you are you creating pieces to send off for exhibits at the moment because you're not teaching? Are you
No, unfortunately, there was an exhibition I was supposed to take part in that was going to be in Oregon this summer, but that's not happening. I've had some commissions. So I've been working on commissions and just making things that interest me. It's sort of like an opportunity to just play around with things I've been wanting to do, but you know how it is.
Well, yeah. I mean, if you're teaching all the time and then you don't get that chance to nurture your own creative work, right? So
exactly.
I'm glad to hear you're getting to do that. That's awesome.
Yeah.
So we have about 5 minutes left. Are you back into the studio now, or?
Sure. Okay. I can go back in the studio.
I wondered if you could show us up close the latest piece you've been working on and describe your collaboration with the Woodbox.
Okay.
You're collaborating with another artist on those, right?
Well, that's how it started. Yes. One of the events that I'm very sad to be missing this summer is an artist collaboration event that I take part in every 2 years. It's in Saskatchewan. And unfortunately, it was canceled. It was going to take place in early August this year. And it's an event where 100 artists from around the world come, descend, in this middle of nowhere, Saskatchewan.
Where is
artists
Saskatchewan?
Of all different. It's near Emma Lake.
Okay.
It's at Ness Creek.
Okay.
And artists from around the world, all different medium, come together and make things.
Wow. So you have to be invited.
Yes. Yeah. Generally, that's the way it works. It's a lot of good proportion of the people are from Saskatchewan.
Right.
Now, I got invited because of Dorothy Gilbarnes years ago. She was an invited artist, and then she asked me to join her. But there's collaboration events like this all over. There are other ones around the world. And, in many ways, I think Salt Spring would be a great place to hold something like that. I mean, we could just do it with Salt Spring artists.
Yeah, that's true. Yeah, collaboration, yeah.
But for example, this piece here, I collaborated with a woodworker artist, Kimberly Winkle, and she made this wood box and used milk paint, and then I wove the top edge.
Wow.
And then this piece, this is a box. Now I've taken workshops at Lee Valley.
Oh, really?
In Victoria. Yeah, they have seminars.
Oh.
And so that's where I've also learned about bandsaw boxes. So this is a very simple bandsaw box, and then covered with bark weaving.
Wow, that's great. So what was the course that you took at Lee Valley? That's cool to know, like a woodworking course.
Oh, yeah. I've taken quite a few. I've taken carving courses, wood carving. Where's my little bird? Well, he's not finished. this may be starting to get embarrassing, but but power carving. Where's my bird? There he
Oh,
is.
that's beautiful. Wow.
So
That's good.
carving. What else have I done? Bandsaw boxes, woodworking for women, wood turning.
Yeah.
I don't have any of that out here. You're lucky enough. I won't, but
Well, that's you just
but
kind of
anyway.
you find courses based on what you're interested in and just follow that, and then
Oh
that
yeah,
speeds your work.
I love teaching. I love being a student.
Right.
Yeah, and learning new things. And I'd love to learn some jewelry techniques and metal. Blacksmithing would be amazing too.
Well, you can do that here at the Farmers Institute, right?
Yeah, I know. We're so fortunate.
Yeah,
so maybe we'll learn we don't need to go all that far. Yeah.
Well, thank you, Joan. We've run out of time because we've only got 40 minutes, so we want to make sure we get this whole interview on. Please, what is your Instagram handle, just in case people...
Yeah, it's J.M. Carrigan.
Right, and you will have the link to the video and to another workshop there, right?
I will have. I haven't posted it yet, but I'll post the information about the video instruction and how you can get a hold of the kit if you'd like, and then you might see. Well, you'll probably see pictures of others. I've been posting pictures of the garden structures and things like that. And the thing about the workshops this summer is that I believe it would be important to draw on local. Like, I'm not sure how far and wide we're supposed to travel. Right. So whether I haven't heard the news today because we're at stage 3. So I will probably advertise locally initially.
That's
I don't know.
a great idea because your workshops usually fill up really fast with people from off island, right? So, and now that I've seen your studio, I'm just like, whoa, I want to come and hang out there for sure.
That'd be great.
Okay, Joan, thank you so much.
Thank you.
We'll see you soon on island.
Sounds great. You be well.
You too. Take care.
Okay.
Bye.
Bye-bye.